such a larger-than-life figure. We know a big part of his career at the start was, the record business, but as the industry changed, so too did he, and a big focus on live events from Michael.
Yeah, I mean, he was larger than life, Tom. I mean, he started out when he was actually 7. He was born to be an entrepreneur. At 7 years of age, he was selling car spaces in his father's and mother's driveway near Caulfield racetrack at 10 cents a car to allow parking, and then graduated at 17 to organising school dances, the first of which was for 600 people. He was born to be an entrepreneur. He was a great spruiker. He loved his music. And from a very humble Russian Jewish background, his parents escaped Russia and came out here as immigrants. And I think that really gave him the impetus to really succeed. Jimmy Barnes, the Cold Chisel, the Shantuzis, Jojo Zepp as well, the Angels. And then of course Kylie Minogue, great mate of Molly's, as we can see there. They used to hang out together all the time, he and Molly. He was larger than life, Tom, and interestingly enough, I didn't realise until he mentioned in the interview that his father actually passed away from a sudden heart attack also. So it could be something that very sadly runs in the family. I'd interviewed Kylie a number of times over the years through Michael, and he always said that you couldn't be a follower. You always had to be a leader, and after he'd found a particular sound, he'd go looking for another sound. He was never happy with following music trends.
No, and certainly didn't rest on his laurels. Look, packed into the unfortunately shorter number of years he got in the end. This interview was actually about Australia and the US, and he spoke about this. I guess this was the last frontier for Australian musicians, and actually he regretted not giving it a bit of an earlier crack with the Skyhooks.
Yeah, well, he did. I mean, I think he tried at 20. He was managing Skyhooks. At 19, he was stage manager of the Sunbury Film Festival, our mini Woodstock back in the 70s. And yeah, he would have liked to have gone earlier to America, but couldn't really break into it. But he loved American music, and he loved the fact that Americans loved us. This interview was probably one of the last in-depth interviews that he ever really gave, which is why Fox Arts is running it tomorrow night. And he did say then that he did actually get Skyhooks to back Kiss. But the amazing thing was that Kiss didn't realise that Skyhooks were dressing up almost as much as Kiss had. So the Red Simons and Shirley Straughns of the world were not quite what Kiss expected. And when they realised that they too were dressing up in outrageous costumes, Kiss dumped them as the backup act. So what did Michael Gudinski do? He took that as a compliment. It didn't faze him one iota, and he just tried harder to get Skyhooks around America, and they ended up playing to audiences of 10, 20, 30,000 people in the end. And that really only spurred him on, that Kiss were worried that Skyhooks looked and sounded a bit like them.
Yeah, and I'm sure harness that for the publicity you can get out of that. Hey, they're worried that we're going to be too good for them. Just finally, look, we keep hearing allusions to the stories, if you like. Michael, certainly the life of the party. Do we find out much about that, or is it a case of only so much you can tell on television?
Look, to be honest with you, I didn't go there. Certainly he was larger than life, and his Molly Meldrum and Frankie J. Holt and other people like that will tell you that one of the reasons that he was able to sign up people was putting on huge parties, and they were big. I mean, I went to a couple myself, and they were outrageous. We did This Is Your Life on him a number of years ago, and that was a handful. Just doing a This Is Your Life on Michael Gudinski was almost a full-time job to keep everyone involved, corralled and on the mark. That was his life, and they were the people that he associated with. Even Sue, his wife, said that on the day of their wedding, he sort of disappeared. a lot during not during the actual ceremony, but during the day of the reception. Why? Because he was putting the final touches to Sting and Police's last concert tour in Australia when they got married, and he was off organising the latest tour. That was his life, and he loved it, I think. And he'd be the first to admit that although there were a number of years for him to go, I think going in your sleep is pretty good, rather than ending up a living skeleton in some hospice for a number of years. I think Michael would have been the first to admit that that's the way he would want to go.